Ray Comfort has become skeptical and obviously wants his Facebook buddies to do the same. Very recently, a fake Rayism appeared on .net. The short, made-up quote pulled together racism and slavery and was purported to be from Ray's own pen. I saw this on my Facebook feed, with angry comments from atheists attached. I always try to be skeptical, and quickly satisfied myself that this was almost certainly a fake. I'm not surprised that some people took it on face value. Atheist does not equal skeptic. And I know plenty of atheists who subscribe to conspiracy theories, supernatural nonsense, and utter woo-woo. The trick to staying skeptical is to always remember that you are not. Or rather, your brain is not. And your brain is, in fact, you. Far from being some intelligently designed supercomputer, your brain is a product of the evolutionary arms race. The one you have is at the end of an evolutionary process which selected for survival and successful procreation. Nothing more. You cannot trust what you see, hear, feel, touch, smell, taste, or even remember, because your brain is lazy and will use pattern matching and gap filling to complete mental pictures for you. I'm working towards a series of videos on this, but please shout now if you disagree with me here. Our brains are also hardwired with biases, which will colour our acceptance or rejection of any proposition presented to us. If you doubt that, then consider your initial gut reaction to a video which pops into your feed with the word feminist in the title, or perhaps creationist, abortion, Ken Ham. That was 3 videos, by the way, and not the title of my next upload. Even the title of this very video you're watching would have mentally prepared you for the content. To be skeptical, you have to override that gut reaction so that when you are presented with new information which seems to fit the biases which you already possess, and especially when it adds condemnation to any position or person, you take extra care in determining whether what has been presented is indeed factual. The thing that does surprise me in this particular case is why anyone would think it necessary to put words into Ray's mouth in order to condemn him. He does that himself all the time. In the simple process of checking out this fake post, I came across another gem from Ray on the subject of slavery from March this year. This is Ray's effort at explaining away biblical slavery. Now, we know that Ray has not read the Bible, and from experience I would suggest that few of his followers have read the book, upon the understanding of which, supposedly, the fate of their eternal souls depend. Skeptics, says Ray, are often angered by the biblical practice of having a bond servant, brackets, a slave. They presume that slavery automatically means tremendous cruelty with chains and whips, because of the history of American slavery. However, a bond servant in Scripture was someone who found themselves in debt, and they worked off their debt. We don't do that in America. We think we know better. We throw people into jail so the person who lost the money doesn't get it back, and the person in debt goes to jail. At present, the United States has over 1.5 million people in prison at a cost of over $31,000 per prisoner per year. Okay. So perhaps Ray is not quite the skeptic after all. It's very obvious that those who lap up his every word as they stuff his bank account with their cash are not at least skeptical. I recently took the opportunity to ask Ray why, with all the documented evidence of his dishonesty that is around, should anyone believe a single thing that he says? Unfortunately, my post on his Facebook page was accidentally deleted, and I was accidentally banned, so perhaps I shall never get a reply to that. So Ray explains to his followers, and they do not question his explanation. A biblical slave is just someone down on their luck who sells their time to pay off their debt, and is raped by their employer, and has their offspring removed and handed to the employer's wife, or simply enslaved, embonded to their employer for life, and who can then be beaten to death by their employer for a misdemeanor. Just as Ray wishes it was today in America, apparently. Ray's ignorance of the Bible is, of course, matched by his ignorance of the debt laws. Debt is, in almost all cases, a civil matter rather than a criminal one, and so debtors would not end up in prison. But this is all just nitpicking detail. I'm missing the bigger picture. You see, Ray knows Jesus intimately, the way a man knows his wife, and Ray's faith in his Jesus is just like a man's faith in his wife. If you want to know what your wife wants from you, read a book about her. I'm certain you'll get all the answers you need. What? You don't have to read a book? Your wife's right there? You can ask her what she wants? Well, Ray's relationship with his Jesus is just like your relationship with your wife. And so when Ray wants to tell us why he is neither a Calvinist or an Arminian, he can tell us what his intimate relationship with his Jesus has taught him about Christianity. No. All he can do is give us another page of tiresome quotes from the same book the Calvinists and Arminians use to justify their own cults. Stay skeptical.